Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? Today is the podcast for the week of sometime in the end of April, beginning of May. I've been gone for a week, so I'm totally
out of sync.
Totally out of sync. What day is today?
It's Friday, isn't it? Yeah, Friday.
Friday, May the 2nd. And today I am GhostRobo, I think, and we are joined by a man who some call the legendary zookeeper of London, Game Right himself.
Is there any zoos in London? I don't think there is, actually.
No zoos?
No, there's there's one called Colchester Zoo. That's the one I can think of. I don't think there might be, actually.
There's got to be a big London zoo. It's a huge city.
I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments.
Scott has never seen a zoo, but you've got a tortoise, you've got a dog, you've got a budgie, you've got, what else? What other kind of pets are you harboring? Guinea pigs, my God.
Guinea pig, yeah. You had fish fairly recently as well.
Your own animal daycare. What's the next pet on the list?
I don't know. My dad just doesn't like pets as much as my mum, so I think he's gonna put his foot down for a bit.
Okay. Have you ever had
more pets?
Have you ever had fish?
Yeah, I said. We had goldfish and we had exotic ones at one point as well, which died very quickly.
Oh, did they? Jake, my brother, at one point had this goldfish, and it was a legendary goldfish because it had an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm, so it literally had a hole explode in its head, but it survived. And this actually happened twice, where it self-healed itself in a little bowl, and then popped again, and it was like this fish that would not die. So we ended up letting it go in a pond because we felt like clearly this guy is made for bigger things than living in a bowl. Yeah,
I think I won my first one at I think I won two, actually. I won two like a circus, like a fair thing. Mm-hmm. Put it into it's like it got massive. I had it for like years, and then we put it into a pond, and then a cat ate 'em.
Oh,
yeah, so that was quite sad.
It's a bit. Did you see it happen?
No, we gave it to like someone else. They're getting so big, it just couldn't fit.
Right. That's quite morbid. Yeah, this fish, it totally flipped over, belly up, we totally thought it was dead, and Jake was so sad, and then next day, nope, he was swimming with a hole in his head. So
must have been so happy though.
Yeah, just
it's like a miracle. The
miracle fish. In terms of gaming though, what has been going on this past week? I was out of town in California for some crazy brain scans, but let me know what has been happening.
Well, I guess the Amazing Spider-Man's probably the biggest one, along with Child of Light. Spider-Man, let's start with Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man's
the greatest game ever.
I just wish, I always say during my commentaries, I think I always wish they spent more time on that game. Yeah. Like a Batman, Activision just threw money at their face and said, make a good game and just spend time on it. Give them 3-4 years just to make an amazing Spider-Man game. There's so much potential in that franchise to make a really epic game, but this one it feels like so cheap. The menus feel really cheap and it was so rushed. I guess the mechanics of moving isn't too bad. It is better than the last game.
And swinging around, you mean?
Yeah, that swing. It's quite like with the triggers. It's quite nice, but it takes a little bit getting used to. But it does work quite well in the end.
I haven't played it myself, but I have seen a lot of people complaining that just the animations feel really jittery. It just is that the big complaint, that it just feels completely rushed and completely low budget?
If this feels like a PS2 game in terms of graphics, even I got the PC version, which I guess is the best version, along with the PS4, and it doesn't feel. It feels like a PS2 game in terms of graphics and stuff. The movement of the lips and stuff the lip syncing is terrible in this game. Yeah, it's so off, and the characters just feel so crappy, and it's still fun though. I don't know why I'm still having fun with it. If that makes any sense.
I've heard people say it's enjoyable. I just wish that. I think we're at a point now, next-gen games are starting to look really, really pretty, and if something is going to be a rush job like this, I think it's going to start having to be a $40 game or a $30 game. There has to be some price difference between, the $200 million AAA game and the quick rush license game. Will it probably happen? Most likely not, but I would love to see two tiers of games. So we have our AAAs and then our lower budgets. It just doesn't seem fair to be charging $60 for this and also $60 for Infamous Second Son.
Yeah, no, there's been some confusion about the release as well, because the Xbox One first of all got cancelled, right? And then Major Nelson kind of said, "Oh no, it's online. You can download it on the Xbox One," which is really weird. Right. I don't get that at all. I guess they thought no one's going to buy it on the Xbox One for no reason. I don't know why they did that.
It's kind of a strange situation, because I thought for a while there they were giving Spider-Man a little more time. A couple of years back, I believe it was the same developer was making the cel-shaded Spider-Man game, Shattered Dimensions, and there was one more, and I thought those were pretty cool. Like, you were a noir Spider-Man, you were Ultimate Spider-Man, like, kind of some interesting ideas. Was it a perfect game? No, but at least a little bit more unique, and now they're back to just kind of pooping out movie tie-ins, and I don't know, it clearly is selling well, I have to imagine. It kind of bums me out that I just wish every game got the love and care that something like Arkham Asylum, got.
I mean, I wonder if it sells well, or whether it's just a profit margin thing where they sell
perhaps,
but a particular amount of copies. I do find it funny that they released it obviously to time with the American release. Obviously, the UK came out before,
right?
Which is a bit weird as well. But I just think the story and stuff is very, very.
It seems so recycled. From the bits I've seen, it just seems like they took the first game, reused a bunch of stuff, and sort of shoehorned in the second story. But yeah, it's poor Spider-Man.
I mean, there's a certain bit with the Kingpin. The level looks exactly the same as the first game.
Yeah,
exactly a copycat of that level. It looks very, very weird. It's like just copy and paste. And
I wonder how that happens in terms of which characters get the special treatment, like a Batman Arkham Asylum. Was that Rocksteady coming to DC or whoever owns the game part of it and saying, hey, Warner Brothers, we want to make this great Batman game? Or was Warner Brothers active and looking for someone to make a better Batman game? I wonder how that all plays out in terms of guys like Spider-Man or even X-Men, these big movie characters, Avengers. We haven't even seen an Avengers game yet. How that all goes down, if it's just like, hey, we want to cash in, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just interesting to see which movies and characters get sort of that premiere treatment, and then which kind of just get the we'll make a quick quick knockoff.
Yeah, I mean, there's some discussion apparently with the Marvel guy. I think he works for Marvel, but he runs the game side of it or something.
Okay.
And he was quoted as saying, if someone wants to approach us about the Avengers, about there being a game, they can do that, but we're looking for the right person.
I guess that's a good sign.
Well, but then he said we weren't very happy with Thor or something, Thor and Iron Man games, which are completely terrible, by the way. And then he goes and obviously does this game. So he's obviously commissioned this game to go off and be sold. I mean, it's like, what are you doing?
A little bit strange. And now we have basically AAAs and indies are kind of the most popular, and so these mid-tier games are shrinking, and so I feel like they stand out even more, like, it's kind of a piece of crap, whereas previously we had so many. You had your whole slew of SpongeBob games and your Dora the Explorers and all these games that were just profiting off of licenses, but now it seems like there's fewer of them, so they really kind of, to me at least, stand out as like, why is this $60? It should not be $60. Should
be like a download game or cheaper or a budget title.
Now, Child of Light is a brand new thing, and it is downloadable. And this is one that I was really looking forward to. It's made by Ubisoft, and it's a UbiArt game, which is the same engine as the Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends games. How did that one turn out?
Generally, I think you can definitely tell it's running on the that Rayman engine, because it looks so pretty. Like, it's one of the prettiest games I think I've played. It looks like a constant piece of moving art or something. It's amazing to look at. But I find the sort of constant poetry in the game a little bit jarring at times. It's very like, oh god, I'm reading it out. I'm like, this is really not fun to read.
Like annoying or heavy-handed or pretentious.
Just annoying. It's just, why don't you just have good dialogue in it? Why have they got to do a constant? Perhaps they're like a random bit of poetry here and there, maybe. But they've got constantly. They've done
and there's no voice acting, right?
No, it's just
that's the killer right there.
I just think it's very jarring when you're playing it. It's like, oh man, I wish there was a bit more dialogue. But I guess the combat is quite fun. But apparently it's quite repetitive over time. I've only played the first half an hour.
Okay.
And apparently it does get quite boring towards the end. It's like a 10-hour game. So.
Oh wow.
The combat is literally the same.
I did play a little of it. Just the opening little chapter there where you're learning the combat. And it seemed kind of interesting. But I almost felt like it didn't match up well. Like, it reminded me of a Limbo style game with this very beautiful world, and I wanted to explore it, and then having random battles pop in, it felt, and the poetry you're talking about just felt kind of incongruous. Like, they didn't really match up the world, the art, the character, and all of a sudden she's fighting giant grasshoppers. It just seemed a little of an odd choice in terms of the genre that they picked to go with. Perhaps if it was a very beautiful game that you're exploring and maybe solving some puzzles, kind of a la Limbo, maybe that would have been a even cooler use of this gorgeous game, because it is incredibly pretty.
It's definitely so pretty. I don't know. I haven't looked at the other versions of the game. I've only played the PS4 version, but
Same here.
It looks amazing in terms of visuals and stuff. But again, I'm not sure the battles will become boring and stuff. I mean, it's like this small girl. All of a sudden, she's picking up a sword and doing combat. Apparently, she dies or something at the beginning. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's quite this like strange Sleeping Beauty like esque story, and
she grabs a sword and starts stabbing big monster things. It's like, okay, fair enough.
It does fit like a weird spot again, where it's like they're trying to make kind of an epic tale, but then no voice acting, so it feels a little bit strange. And I don't know, it kind of is just that it fits inside sort of a weird space. I'm gonna play more of it to see, because I do enjoy cool turn-based systems, and they have that whole there's like a casting bar, and you can like slow down the enemies and speed up yourself, and then it's possible to get off multiple attacks in a row. It's not truly just a basic turn-based type combat. It's very it can be dynamic.
Yeah, it's like a sort of time-based JRPG, I guess, isn't it? It's you're constantly like you're looking at the bar at the bottom and you're trying to hold the enemy back, and then you're trying to attack as well, and it's quite interesting. Yeah,
it seems interesting, and something I was totally unaware of until I played it is that there is a party system, so you will be picking up like a handful of other characters to add to your party. It's not just Aurora, who is the main girl, which is, I think that could flesh it out. So I'm excited to see if the combat can carry it. But
apparently it's co-op as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there is, with the little firefly guy that can go around and do. It's not like true.
Not really. It's just like a background thing, really, isn't it?
Kind of like the Mario Galaxy like girlfriend mode or whatever they called it, where you can move the star around and touch everything.
Oh,
but I think the big news of the week happened just a couple hours ago, which is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which is, I mean, let's just first off talk about the name. Advanced Warfare
feels like an upgrade to Modern Warfare, I guess.
To me, it feels like a mother or a grandmother going into GameStop and asking for Modern Warfare, but like having the wrong title and being like, "Oh, I want that Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for PlayStation 3," and oh, you mean Modern Warfare? No, Advanced Warfare. It also reminds me of Advanced Warfighter from GRAW, the Ghost Recon game that came out with
mixed up now.
Xbox 360, and just like, man, like you have a chance to make a next-gen Call of Duty, call it like Call of Duty Prime or Call of Duty, I don't know, it just seems like they could have really sort of, hey, a new era of Call of Duty, this sweet name. Instead, we've got Advanced Warfare, and it's in a gold font, so it really looks like it's a knockoff of Modern Warfare, like some cheap, game from Singapore or something that they, put on the shelves. But anyways, the news of this is that it was supposed to be revealed in a few days. A trailer got leaked, so they said, hey, screw it, we're just going to reveal everything now. It is the next Call of Duty game. Comes out November 4th, and it's Advanced Warfare, focusing on futuristic technology, private military operations, and a little bit of Titanfall-esque stuff with exoskeletons, hover bikes, and invisibility. But I think possibly the most confusing part for me is that this is coming out on all platforms.
That's not a surprise for me at all. I expected that, but it does look very pretty, though. We have to say it does look
really
finally
pretty.
Like a step forward, because Ghost look almost like a step back to me. It looked terrible on next gen.
You don't think, though, that's a misstep to have it release on all the systems?
Not for them in terms of money.
Monetarily, I guess, but I was hoping for two versions. I was really pulling for Ghost 2 on 360 and PS3, and then focus entirely on next gen. I mean, we've seen that these games are held back. We've seen Watch Dogs be held back. We've seen these cross-gen games be held back, and it does make me nervous, in spite of how pretty this looks at the onset. Like, is it going to be just another year of Call of Duty?
It will be another year of Call of Duty, but it's going to be... It's being honest. I mean, it comes out every year. I mean, we knew it was coming, and we knew that it was Sledgehammer, which is a sort of brand new developer, really, that... I think it's the first time they worked on their own game, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, they helped with Modern Warfare 3 and some other stuff. But yeah, this is the first time that they are at the helm of the project.
So it's like them right at the top. I mean, it does look very pretty, and I like the fact it's got Kevin Spacey in it, which I think's... I watched him in House of Cards, and it feels like they've sort of almost copycated that character into that, which is very, very odd to watch, first of all. He's got a slightly different accent, but he's literally saying almost exactly the same words, which is weird. It's like, I guess for me, the franchise has got a really negative vibe at the moment from its fans. I mean, I went over to the trailer today. It's already got 6,000 dislikes. I mean, that's crazy. It's got a massive dislike bar. And people are still so negative about that game, and it's because they've been jarred by it for years now. Comes every year, and it's very average. It's very similar.
Plus, I think they do such a good job of like that initial hype with their like like their music, their trailers. It's all so like in your face. You're like, oh my god, it's gonna be amazing. And then you get the game, and it's like this crappy 4-hour single player campaign, multiplayer with a few tweaks. So many revolving developers that there's not much consistency, and the only thing that is consistent is that it's pretty much the same as the last year. This one looks very cool, but again, we have seen futuristic warfare stuff. I remember watching the launch trailer for, gosh, whatever game it was. Was it Modern Warfare 3 where they had the flying drones, like similar...
That's Black Ops, wasn't it?
Black Ops 2, one of those games. And just like, are we just being baited into another mediocre Call of Duty? I mean, this is the year where they could capitalize on that single player. Titanfall is kind of really looked down upon for not having a campaign mode. If they could do something interesting here, it would be really cool.
I mean, the thing that I worry about now is that the campaign could be good. It could be a positive, it could be a plus. But then, for some reason, they don't put any of this really cool stuff into the multiplayer because they're so concerned about it being
standardized.
Yeah, because it's got to be good for competitive multiplayer as well. So they're going to keep it the same, I reckon, with a few like additional changes like kill streaks and stuff. But I think the multiplayer will be pretty much similar, which is a bit of a concern to me.
They sort of had this alternating system where, you know, the Modern Warfare 3 and then Ghost had like those strike packages, whereas Black Ops 2 and blah, blah, blah had more straight perks and whatnot. This is a different developer, so it'll be interesting to see if they continue and build off of the Ghost framework or the the Black Ops 2 framework or their own new framework. There's been some info revealed. There's regular weapons, there's energy weapons, there's these exoskeleton suits that can jump really high and hover bikes.
That's going to be a multiplayer though, or is that just going to be...
Well, that's just what they have said are the feature lines for the game. But yeah, again, will that be in multiplayer? Will they look to create a more speedy multiplayer? I mean, that's the thing to me that Titanfall did the best, is like that freedom of movement. And I'll be interested to see if, for Call of Duty, if like the exoskeletons are like hulking strong things, or if they're more fast moving, a la Titanfall
pilots.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this trailer's been a bit of a plus. I actually quite enjoyed the trailer. I like the fact Kevin Spacey's in it. There's some new stuff, and it looks interesting for me, and I'm looking forward to it. But again, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be the best game of the year or anything. But
sure,
the trailer's definitely a positive in the right direction.
I thought it looked really good. They've got this climbing on the wall stuff. The one thing I do want to note is that, if you remember with a lot of past Call of Duties where they show some of this epic movement stuff, climbing icy cliffs or whatnot, it all ends up being like left trigger, right trigger, left trigger. It's not like
true,
you're running up these walls or you're parkouring through these environments. Every Call of Duty in the last, 5-6 years ends up kind of being a shooting gallery game where you're moving from scene to scene and firing at all the guys with, a very aggressive auto aim. So it would be my hope that they could go in a new direction with the power of Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but the fact that this is cross-gen makes me a little apprehensive that perhaps it is just going to be, like you're saying, the next Call of Duty with a few new hurrah moments, but not a whole lot different.
Apparently all that gameplay was recorded on the Xbox One, so there was a lot of rumours recently that the PS4 was going to be the main system for that Call of Duty, but apparently I guess they're not anymore. It seems like they're going with the Xbox One again still, which is interesting for like DLC and stuff, but I mean, stuff like where the guy approaches the wall, he looks at his hands and like, I can go up this wall with my hands. It's like, I'm Spider-Man or something. It's like, okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
It's so hard to tell if that is like a major gameplay mechanic or just a singular event. They touted Riley the dog for so long with Ghosts. He was in the game for what, like 10 minutes? Like it didn't even factor in. Like totally goofy. So hopefully we'll see more at E3. Although with this being Sledgehammer, sort of their first real Call of Duty, I would, if I had to place my money somewhere, I would put my bets in your corner and say, yeah, it's probably just going to be another Call of Duty a little bit prettier. The multiplayer has a chance, though, to make some significant gains because Titanfall doesn't seem to be holding on as strong as we would have thought. Yeah,
it's completely just gone off that game completely. Everyone was so like buzzing, excited about it, and as soon as it came out, everyone just went, "Oh, I'm bored of it now." And yeah, I was quite surprised by that when Titanfall came out. And no one really wanted to play it for that long.
Strange, very strange. So this one comes out November 4th, so a long time away. Coming out before that in September, though, is Destiny, and we saw a lot of new stuff for that this week. What did you think?
I'm trying to remember what happened there. There's been so much stuff happening this week. It's like
it was a very busy week. I think we're kind of in that period pre-E3 where people are trying to get stuff out that isn't going to be in the main shows, the main press conferences. But Destiny revealed a 9-minute gameplay video of sort of a side mission type thing, as well as a bunch of new info in terms of there's going to be, you can take your save from one generation to the next, which is kind of cool. Still no PC version, and a few other tidbits. But to me, the most interesting part was that gameplay video. Did you see that?
I did, yeah. It's quite... I mean, things I did notice, though, it looked quite slow-paced in terms of like gameplay and like being a shooter. And also it looked like it was quite easy. I'm guessing they were playing on like an easy mode, or it was very constructed to look like that, and it's supposed to look quite easy, and you're supposed to look like a sort of superior, sort of almost like a Master Chief character, where you're super beefed up and you got a massive shield and you're shooting somewhere. Also, I've got to know, the Call of Duty game, apparently this is priced at $54.99 over here, which is pounds, so they're pricing it quite high in terms of game, which is interesting. I haven't seen the American price yet. I looked on Amazon, but
not there.
I haven't seen the price yet. But
yeah, there have been a few people have actually tweeted me recently and mentioned like, hey, for pre-order games we're seeing $70. I have to imagine it's a placeholder. I can't imagine them randomly switching this year. I mean, I wouldn't put it past people, but I'm assuming those are just placeholder prices, because I have seen some $70 placeholders for pre-orders on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm aware that if they do keep going that way, it seems like even last year, for some reason, the prices are, I think it's £40 for PC, sorry, and then 55 for every other console, which is weird.
Strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. But yeah, Destiny, this is one of our most anticipated games, if not our most anticipated. So I think we're both very high on it. The concern, though, is that they haven't shown a lot, and it seems like they're saving, or they keep saying they're saving the best parts for later. At a certain point, though, like, please show us the best parts so we can...
Yeah, like, now, please.
Like, see
it's
them.
Getting close, though, isn't it? I know they're trying to, like, oh, it's E3.
September 9th isn't that far away. I mean, we're in May. That's
so we've got
4
June,
months.
July, August, September. So
4 months.
A few months. But.
The game has to be approaching completion pretty soon here. I mean, the takeaways I had from that gameplay are that, yeah, it's not what I anticipated. It's very beautiful. It looks gorgeous. But I feel like it almost felt like some element of the game was missing. Like, I watched that video and I was like, is something wrong? Is there, like, no music? No, there's music. Is there no gun sound? No, there's gun sound. Like, it felt empty in like a strange way. One of the things I think Halo does really well is create these massive battles and kind of overwhelm you as Master Chief. Like, oh my god, I gotta run over here and then hop in this Warthog and drive over here, and you're constantly progressing through this massive battle. Here, this felt more like Borderlands to me, which is big spaces with enemies popping out of cover, shoot them, get some orbs and loot, and move on to the next area. I hope that there's more to the game than that.
I mean, I hope this is like a mild side mission thing. I know I've seen some of the public events for E3. That was a bit more bigger and a bit more outrageous, I guess. But the thing I did notice, the sound doesn't sound that good. The gun sounds a bit weak.
It's balanced odd or something. Something's balanced weird where the guns seem cheap. They don't have...
no boom like with the guns. It's very, very weird.
And I was comparing it in my head to the Last of Us multiplayer, which I know is a completely different style, don't get me wrong, but when you fire those guns, you feel like this is intense. This is like a serious event when I fire this gun or I'm getting fired at. In this Destiny gameplay, I felt like we were watching people play with airsoft guns or pretend guns. It was just like boom, 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 boom everywhere, like some tacky Star Trek game or something. And sound has been a big part of Halo, and they got that right. So I'm hopeful that, again, this is just like an odd gameplay. It just concerns me that, again, they did a studio tour. They showed a side mission. Like, at what point are we going to see...
Show us the goods.
The main thing that this game has to offer... I don't know. It left me very worried.
I mean, the press were like, they weren't all positive, were they, as well?
No.
I think Kotaku didn't slam it, but they said, well, we got a bit bored. I was like, okay, that's not good.
It looked boring. Then they said they had them play the same section like 4 times or something.
Yeah, they could play with every class, couldn't they? Just that one section, though. That was it.
And it's 3 players, and supposedly the competitive multiplayer is structured around teams of 3, which is odd as well. it's weird that we don't know a lot about this game. You know, we know a lot about what they say about it. Destiny, this epic 10-year game. It's our biggest game ever, our best game ever. It's going to be massive. Play with your friends, go from moon to moon. And what is all that? We don't really know. What we've seen is supposedly a side mission, and then last year at E3 we saw a little bit of like a dungeon type run with a public boss event at the end. But yeah, I'm nervous that this game is trending towards a personality-less Borderlands, which is terrible, to be honest.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, I'm just hoping that after E3 our opinions switch a bit. I mean, I'm not down on the game. It looked pretty and it could be fun, but with the right people perhaps. But generally, I don't know. I got less excited about that game after I saw that massive long gameplay. I'm not sure if it was like this. The guy was there a guy speaking in the background, like giving orders and stuff, and perhaps they had to turn down the game sound and the music.
Yeah,
and
it was hard to tell
and stuff.
It was hard to tell if that was like a voiceover or if that was, you know, oh, press up on the D-pad and it's like follow me, like one of those type in-game commands. But yeah, I think at least from the game they were talking, I've been hoping, and maybe it's still there, but for an epic storyline that you can follow, as well as like these, oh, go and shoot 10 hive grunts that are level 6 or whatever and kill them really fast and take down their meters, but hoping for also kind of a Mass Effect style, not in terms of the gameplay. We know it's not RPG in that way. We know it's not dialogue trees, but at least in terms of like explore these areas, you know, and all of a sudden this crazy boss emerges and not just, oh, I mean, we saw a lot of drop ships in this gameplay. We saw a lot of that kind of like, here come the hordes, fight them, like as if it's Firefight from Halo, just an entire game worth, which it makes me very, very, very worried. You know, I had someone tweet me asking, what are the must-have games for PlayStation 4? The only one
this year.
Well, that's already out.
Okay, yeah.
And the only one that I could come up with was Infamous. And if someone said, what's the must-have game for Xbox One? I would say Titanfall is pretty cool, and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is pretty cool. And trying to look forward and predict what is the must-have game for next gen this year, considering Call of Duty is on all consoles, Destiny is on all consoles. I mean, it's a little bit strange that the systems are selling so well, and yet these companies are not committing.
I feel like the publishers and developers have been a little bit surprised, I think, by the success of these consoles. They saw the Wii U come out, and it's flopped. Right. And I think they got a little bit like, last gen done quite well. The Xbox 360 sold well. The PS3 sold well. Let's make sure we keep focusing on this as well. I think they've been a little bit surprised by it, and I think perhaps next year is when we're going to see the full sort of publishing stuff sort of switch around and sort of focus on that next gen. I think also I don't think there's a massive, it's not a bigger jump compared to the PS3 and the PS2 as well. I feel like anyway, in terms of like power and graphics and producing power and you know what I mean. It's just like it's not much of a jump between those two consoles.
I think it's more akin to the like. Well, maybe even less. I was going to say like PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, at least early era PlayStation 2, more of just like, oh, smoother and crisper. And it's not, you know, like when we went from Super Nintendo to N64 or something. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that the curve, if you think of it as a curve in terms of like the cost of these games to what they're producing kind of evens out. To me, it seems like these games are costing a lot more on the new technology, investing in new practices and new engines. And so perhaps, we have to put them on all to make up our expenses, but perhaps in a year's time that will get more standardized and we can have next-gen only games. You know, to me, it puts a lot of pressure on Evolve and Batman as kind of the two premier next-gen only big releases, as well as whatever comes out exclusively for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. E3 is going to be, I think, a really, I hope it's cool, but at least interesting time to see sort of what is the next 12 months for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. What are we to expect from, the quote, next gen?
I also think for myself, I think there's got to be a clear comparison between like the PS3 version and the PS4 version. So when Destiny comes out, and people can clearly see on YouTube that the PS4 version looks a lot better, and that's I think the way they're going to start, hopefully get leading towards the PS4 console, and then obviously doing some more next-gen stuff. I think that's probably what we've got to see next, personally. Where I think perhaps at the moment we haven't seen, there's not been a massive difference between the PS3 and like the PS4 so far. In terms
I think the exclusives, at least stuff like Infamous, is noticeably better.
Yeah, definitely. But you can nothing else to compare it to. It's like a last-gen version where you can compare it, and I don't know. Just if they come out on every console, there's not like a clear. This one's better, like by a big margin. It's very, very close.
Well, this is kind of the first time ever that they've kept such a cross-gen approach. I mean, I know there were some at the beginning of the 360 era that were on both Xbox Original and Xbox 360, but we've never really seen such a long-winded and seemingly continuing cross-gen experiment. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. The other player in this scene is Nintendo, and we always question their motives. They've made some interesting choices yet again for E3 this year, and I'll let you talk about this. It makes me sad.
Well, I don't know what to say about it. I'm bewildered by that team at the moment, Nintendo. I just don't. So they're not doing a conference, is that right? They're not doing like a proper like Nintendo E3 conference this year.
They are doing another online direct to fans E3.
Is it? I heard it was going to be live streamed though. Am I right?
Well, they're live streaming things from the floor. They're live streaming like games from the floor, and then they're doing a presentation on their website, you know, like a Nintendo Direct thing that they do for the fans. They're also doing some interesting things like, you can play Smash Brothers Wii U at Best Buy around the United States, which, you know, it's a cool way to reach out to fans. And they feel like, their directs reach directly to their fans. But the part that they're missing is E3 is a chance for the world to take notice of games. And the big press conferences from Microsoft, Sony, EA, Ubisoft, blah, 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 get so much buzz, even from major publications, you know, LA Times, New York Times, Time Magazine, USA Today, whatever paper products you guys have in the UK. But it's a chance to be noticed and get in that mainstream culture in the same way that when they put the Wii on late night talk shows or morning talk shows, that's how it gained so much momentum. By skipping out on that, sure, they're reaching their fans, cool, whatever. That doesn't bother me. They're conveying the same information, okay. But from a wider standpoint, they're not going to reach mass market. It's impossible to do that with this specific online press conference.
To me, when I watch these things, they feel very concrete as well, the way they present it. It feels like if me and you went completely monotone, just constantly, the way they come across is really, really, really
There's
boring.
no spectacle. It's all like like checklist, PowerPoint presentation.
Nintendo music, and then that's it in the background. I mean, the perfect example of this was I think it was a Mario Kart thing this week. And I think they showed off some more tracks. It just feels like I'm getting bored. 5 minutes in, there's this guy talking I don't know what's up with his voice, but it just feels like he's just monotone. It's boring. There's nothing really happening.
Right. And
they've really got to try and up it a bit, perhaps. I mean, it could work. Personally, I think it could work in some way, but they really got to try and up the spectacle of that live stream and make it a little bit more interesting, not just some monotone sort of experience constantly. It's got to be a little bit more ups and a little bit more entertaining as well. Yeah. Just show off the games.
I don't mind the format for us, as big fans, but the thing, again, is just at those stage shows, Reggie does a good job on stage. They bring Miyamoto out, and Nintendo fans are always so eager for something cool that if they reveal, say, the new Zelda or a new Metroid, you're going to get massive cheers. This is going to create massive buzz. Sure, we'll have the articles written about them now, but we're not going to have that scene where you have a room of thousands cheering on Nintendo that you get at these big press conferences. There's no spectacle, there's no showmanship, there's no performance, and even though that sometimes is kind of silly, that's what E3 is about, and it's a chance to kind of roll out your big guns, roll out your big stuff for the next year, and say, boom, here's what we have to offer. And again, it just seems like whoever is making the decisions over there, has no... all they're focusing on is themselves and what they think. They're not taking a global perspective at all, and to me that's... I know people say if they do a press conference and it's underwhelming and it's not as pretty as PS4, they're going to get panned. But what's the saying? Any news is good news because at least you're getting covered. And
exactly,
I would love to see them get some publicity for their stupid system that's not selling.
It's... I mean, there's already rumors going around that they were going to announce a new system this
right.
E3, which is not going to happen apparently, but... I was getting a little bit excited. Yeah, new system, new powerful system.
The thing I think could happen would be a refresh. I think they could...
Yeah.
A small Wii U, a 3DS XL Lite Extreme Portable. I mean, they could do a refresh, and that wouldn't technically be new hardware. And yeah, I heard someone toss out that maybe that's why they delayed Smash Brothers for Wii U, is so that they could have this new refresh. But
what refreshes in the way it looks, or in terms of is a new system?
Well, I mean, there was initial rumors of new specs, but I don't think that's going to happen. In terms of basically a Wii U 2, a mid-cycle upgrade, basically.
That's a terrible name. Need to change that name. But the Wii Z or something.
Yeah, I saw someone saying Nintendo's going to announce the Wii U Us because they, Wii U Us, me, everything. Like, good God. Again, they are the publisher. They are the company that has the most in their arsenal, I feel, to really push characters and games and franchises, and they just blunder it all away by making bonehead moves. I mean, I
think that company's the only company that could come out and say, this character's going to be in this game, and then everyone just cheers. That's the only company that can do that. If Sony done that, everyone just laugh. But,
exactly. And so that's why why not have the press conference? Because you will get those cheers. You will get that hype. Even in the previous years when they announced Wii U, when they announced Bayonetta 2 for Wii U, which, where is that game? I think it's coming out this summer. But
is it?
Supposedly. When they announced this stuff, I mean, if they have, a big character reveal for Smash Brothers at E3, that would get huge cheers, and you have a chance to really make a mark. Even if the PS4 games look gorgeous and Microsoft does its Call of Duty thing, who cares? Because Nintendo does have legacy at their fingertips that they can throw out there and get cheers. They get cheers for Cranky Kong, for goodness sake. They can basically do anything and get some buzz, but without the venue, there will be no buzz.
It's the reason why Sony done well last year, and why they're at the top of their game at the moment, and why the PS4 is doing so well is because the Sony conference was the best conference. They literally stomped on Xbox, and they're flying ahead. I mean, we could easily argue that the Xbox had better games, but people bought the PS4 console, and there's more selling. It's like 1 million more sold, I think, which is a staggering amount.
Totally. I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the presentation of it, because you have Iwata up there saying our new Mario for Wii U is like, okay, yeah, in your own bedroom you might be doing a dance or something, but if you watch the E3 press conference and they announce it there and you have that noise of cheering, like me as a viewer, if I watch that, I'm going to get excited because other people are excited. That's sort of the human thing. If other people are getting excited, it naturally makes you more excited, and just watching it on, IGN or Kotaku from your bedroom, like, it's not the same thing as having this massive TV presence. I don't know. I think it's a silly, it's just a silly thing. But something they are doing that is a smart choice. Surprise. A free game with Mario Kart 8. I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, that's great for me. Like, personally, I don't actually have many Wii U games, so I'm going to get a nice little free game on the side, which is... I don't know why they're doing it, though, because I think Mario Kart will sell well enough by itself. But I guess they just want to make a push, trying to sell the console. Like, I'll get 2 games for the price of 1. I guess... Perhaps that's how it works, but for me, I was going to buy Mario Kart anyway, and I think a lot of people will buy it just because it's Mario Kart. But
I think the motive might be, hey, people are going to buy Mario Kart, so let's see if we can slide another Wii U game into their library. Maybe that'll encourage them to play more. And I would bet that these games are just sitting on shelves, not selling, would be my guess. Pikmin 3, I think, is the cream of the crop there, but there's some other interesting choices. Wii Party U. You guys in the UK get a much wider selection than what we get.
What's your ones?
It's Wii Party U. It is Pikmin 3, which is the one that I would recommend. And then I believe there's a few others. I'm going to pull it up here, but you guys get
like 6 or 8 games, I think.
Yeah, let me look at this screenshot. Where is it?
I mean, what's happening at the end of the year for Nintendo? I mean, is it just for the Wii U even? Is it
Smash Brothers is what they have announced, but
that's it.
They have to have I bet Smash Brothers is their December game, their big sort of Christmas push, but or November, but they're gonna have to have another one. So
it's like either Mario or Zelda or.
I think that a lot of people are saying, oh, announce Zelda this year, release next year, but I think if they're desperate, they could be putting a big team to finish that up. Again, it's just like, oh, another Zelda, but it probably would be their smartest move. If they had Zelda and Smash Bros. Back to back, that's a decent way to move hardware, or you have like a new Metroid. I've heard rumors of potentially another new Mario in the works, which...
Whoa.
Another new Mario, but
I'm going to put a lot of money on that.
The exciting part is that at least there will be a new big game.
Yeah, it's going to be something else, really.
Every company, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, have to announce some exclusives for the end of the year, I think, because they're just... There isn't much. Yeah, you guys get Nintendo Land, Mario Bros. U, Game & Wario, Pikmin 3, Zelda Wind Waker, Sonic Lost World, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, Wii Party U, Wonderful 101, or Monster Hunter as your free game, which is...
Monster Hunter, I might get that.
That's pretty cool, and you can get that. You get the free game whether you buy it retail or eShop, which is it's like the coolest thing Nintendo's done in ages. And I mean, I'm excited for Mario Kart, and just to touch on a little bit here, I played both Mario Golf for 3DS and Kirby Triple Deluxe for 3DS on my plane to California. And Mario Golf, do you have any experience with Mario Golf?
I don't know. You guys have to talk about this.
Mario
I'm
Golf.
Listen.
Did you play it on N64?
I didn't. I have an N64.
Mario Golf was so fun on N64. Some of my greatest childhood memories with my dad. Anyways, this is the prettiest looking 3DS game, which is great. And that's sort of the big benefit that this game has going for it. Also, no load times, which is excellent. Golf games have been notoriously terrible about load times. I remember playing Tiger Woods even on 360 and just like sitting there in between holes and like mashing A, like, come on, come on, come on. But this one, no load times, gorgeous graphics. It's a little thin on content, though. There's typically for the handheld Mario Golfs, they do this really cool single player, like kind of RPG thing, leveling up your character, going from course to course, pretty involved mode. And they've kind of stripped that out in favor of more online stuff. So they've got a lot of tournaments. They've got a lot of like asynchronous play and challenges, which is cool. For me personally, I would have loved to see more of that single player meat in there. But it's a very, very good Mario Golf game. It's very fun. It's pretty, and I got a hole-in-one on the plane. So,
very nice. Did you cheer? Yeah.
I was about to go crazy. I was like, "Where's my trophy? I'm picking it up at baggage claim," but they didn't bring it. It's a really fun game. I think it's a good one for 3DS. I would have loved to see it on Wii U though. It would have been so much better to have local co-op. Local multiplayer. It's like a fun game to play with your friends or family. 3DS, that system's already selling well, but oh well. Kirby on the other.
Sorry, before you carry on, do you think they're going to do anything with the Nintendo DS? I mean, there's been rumours again that they're going to try and do perhaps like a different version of the console, make it smaller perhaps, or there's some rumours that they're going to do another handheld, but I doubt it's be the C3, perhaps next year. But
before I answer, let me ask you this: you don't really play the 3DS, correct?
I don't even own one, no.
Okay, so what would it take to get you to buy a Nintendo handheld?
Oh, man, I'm not much of a hand. I don't own the Vita as well, so I don't think I'm much of a handheld
but would it be graphics? Would it be games? What would you, if it was like look beautiful, like looked as good as Wii U, would you buy it? Or is it the games that's the stopping point? Or like if you did play handheld, let's say you started commuting to London every day.
Yeah,
what would it take?
I don't know. I think that'd be a good price, like a new console, a good price, sorry. Some good games, like just some games I'm interested in, and I don't know, it's hard to explain, but just I never been a handheld person, but I guess just generally good games, good price, and yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm not much of a handheld gamer as well, but I will say I think the 3DS is one of their best systems. It started off slow, but it's evolved. That's kind of the hope for the Wii U, is that it starts off slow and evolves, but it's really too slow. In terms of announcing a new one, I don't see it happening just because the 3DS is so successful. What I could see, though, is a revision. The XL, I think, they push that so much harder than the regular. It seems to be selling better than the regular. All the bundles are with the XL now. Oh, really? So perhaps some sort of rebranding where the XL becomes the main line, maybe like an in-between version, something like that, where they get rid of the, quote, regular 3DS. Remember, they also have the 2DS, which I don't know how that sold.
Yeah, I haven't seen that about at all, really. I mean, I've been to a Game Shop for ages, but I haven't seen them push the 2DS at all. At all.
No. It's
over here anyway.
It's a little strange. I mean, I think it depends what direction Nintendo wants to go. The 3DS and their handhelds in general have been their money makers for so long. The Wii, kind of an anomaly that a console actually did super well for them. But handheld-wise, they have 40 million 3DSs in hand. I think pushing games, there's nothing announced for the fall for 3DS either, would be interesting versus a new handheld. Again, they're kind of I think they're in a tough spot to push any new hardware because they've kind of let people down on all fronts lately, saying, hey, buy our new system for $300 or $250 seems really risky.
There's no games coming out on either system, which is really weird. I feel like they need to expand their studios a bit or something, or get another studio, or they got to push development quicker. In my
imagine
opinion.
if Nintendo had secured Garden Warfare for Wii U like that.
It wouldn't have sold as well though. It
wouldn't have sold as well, but it's the perfect game that they could start to expand out. I mean, we talked about this last week that Nintendo does need to start catering towards the quote average gamer, and that's something that they don't do very well. Kirby Triple Deluxe on 3DS is a really fun game, but again, it's going to hit the nostalgic Kirby fans, the kids who like platformers, and that's it. It's very easy. It's very pretty. It looks really good. The graphics on 3DS have improved, I think, so much since that system launched. But it's a fun affair. It's not going to do anything though if you're Nintendo. Just again, as we always say, they're in this vicious cycle where they cater to their fans and their fans are their fans, and they don't seem to know how to reach other people. With the Wii, they reached other people, but those people aren't the kind of guys that are going to go out and buy your new system. They're the people that bought the Wii and probably still have the Wii.
Yeah, it's just sitting there getting dust. I mean, they need to be convinced. I don't know, it's weird now because the Wii U didn't do as well as everyone hoped, and then people got to be now convinced to get another system after that. And it's just like you're starting to go down a very dark road. I mean, like I said, the Wii was like a one-off. The GameCube done badly, the N64 done quite badly as well, and then the Wii just randomly just done quite well with the families and stuff. And then the Wii U's gone back to it again. It's gone back to going back downhill. I know they've got enough money in the bank because they got good like 3DSs and stuff, and they're doing well with that. But
they're sitting on so much cash.
Yeah, just enjoying life. But there you go.
Their secret weapon for E3 this year is going to be their NFC game, which is in the same vein as like Skylanders, or we just had Disney Infinity 2.0. Do you have any interest in that, by the way, the Marvel Disney Infinity?
Personally, I can't get into those things. I mean, yeah. I tried to play it, and I was like, this is terrible gameplay. Great figures,
they sell so massively, though. It
doesn't mean it's good, though, does it?
No, of course it doesn't mean it's good, but it's incredible that Skylanders pushed so many, and they're coming out with a new version. Disney Infinity was the best-selling toy-based game or whatever of last year, and now we have a new one with Marvel in September, which I have to imagine will sell like hotcakes. If they can improve the gameplay in the ways that Skylanders did, I think it could be a worthwhile look. But anyways, the main point here is that Nintendo is doing their own at E3 this year, and I think
confirmed already. Then,
well, they have, it hasn't been formally announced, but they have said they're working on it, and everyone kind of knows. I think that's going to be their
more
sort
figures.
Yeah, and
if all these figures I keep getting apparently Skylander figures, Disney. Oh yeah. Now I've got Nintendo ones as well.
Look, think about it. If you were a 10-year-old boy and you had all these figures to put on your dresser or your shelf or whatever, it would make for a pretty cool set. You can look at them, play with them, put them in your video game. Like I think it's a really cool concept for the right age.
But my dad would pre-shot in every one of them.
Yeah,
and get really angry with me
if they release a Wii U Pokemon game with Pokemon figures. That could be a game changer. I really feel not like some stupid Pokemon thing like they did this Pokemon Rumble thing where they kind of like bounce around and fight each other. No, I'm talking like a true console-based Pokemon game where you buy the figures, they're added to your team. It doesn't have to be a replica of the game DS and GameCube, Game Boy games, but a Pokemon themed thing with figures, with an adventure, like that would sell systems.
It definitely would sell. I mean, I've always wanted a really, really good like console Pokemon game. I used to play the Yellow and Red and stuff a lot. I haven't really played it much since, but a console version of Pokemon would be amazing, as long as it plays well, though. If it's like a Disney Infinity, no, I'm fine. Just go away, please.
Like my fear would be it's Pokemon Stadium. Do you remember those games?
They weren't too bad. Or was
okay.
I just very young? I don't know.
It's basically just the battle system from the handheld games on a console with none of the adventuring or RPG parts of it. No. Just a little silly. I could see them doing that. I think, though, that is a chance for them to sort of sell to their audience. All in all, if they want to ever be competitive, they need to appeal to not that audience. But I'm beginning to think more and more that maybe Nintendo is a company that just wants to do its thing and isn't so concerned with competing with everyone else. And they have said that before. They kind of try to walk both lines, but maybe they are honestly a company that is confident in their own products, confident in their vision for their game system, and really don't have a desire to be the prominent next gen system. It sure seems like that.
But it sounds like that's what anyone would say if they were losing. They'd be like, "Oh, we're just doing our own thing." So Sony would come and say that, wouldn't they, if they were losing? They're like, "Oh, the PS3 was doing okay at the start," and then we're just going to keep going. It's just, I don't know. They want to be on top for sure. They would love to be on top because all the third parties would come to them and they get money just thrown at them in the face.
Of course, it's baffling that they don't make the changes and the decisions that they need to make in order to get those third party. I don't know. They misstep after misstep, but hopefully Mario Kart, Smash Bros. Maybe we'll have a turnaround. The last thing I wanted to touch on here is microtransactions coming to Plants vs Zombies, and this is intriguing to us because we play so much of the game, and I know a lot of people have been really impressed with PvZ and its sort of long-lasting power. Does this bother you at all, or are you okay with it?
I'm completely okay with it, to be honest. I mean, you don't have to do it. You can get coins fairly easily playing the game, and you unlock different characters, which I think the characters are fairly even as well. I mean, I'm fine with it personally, but again, it's an optional thing. It's not a forced-on thing, and they added it in later into the game. Again, it's not a factor for me at all. You can do it if you want to. If you don't want to do it, just ignore them. Simple.
Yeah, there was some serious like outrage, like EA is such a scummy company. They said they weren't going to do this, and now they are. But guys,
free DLC.
They have free DLC, and they're not selling you upgrades to your characters. They're not selling you, XP multipliers. They're not selling you free wins. They're selling you coins that can buy packs that can be bought pretty easily with in-game play. Like, you play a few rounds of Gardens and Graveyards, you can get the most expensive pack. It's not something that, oh my god, this takes 6 hours to unlock this, new weapon, and then you can buy it for $2. It's totally optional, and it's basically just, hey, do you want to play the game more, or do you want to unlock the characters and play the game more? There's no winning of you're not purchasing things to win. You're just purchasing more options, more cosmetic options, more character options, and like you mentioned, they are pretty even, just with different, this one's faster, this one fires, harder, this one has more health. So if anything, this is a great way to support a company that has given us great free DLC and looks to continue to really expand upon their game that already was a budget title with free content, free maps, free characters. And hey, if you want to buy some of these sticker packs because you can't, you don't have the time to play for hours, like I think it's totally good.
Fine. I think it's fine. Like you said, the game was a well-priced title. They're giving us is it 2 free maps now? Like extra content?
Yeah,
extra
there's been 2 DLC packs so far.
I mean, why are you moaning, honestly? I mean, I know people have been just starting to jump on, isn't it? EA's a terrible company, and they have done stuff in the past, but this game, for me, has been actually quite a good consumer product in terms of value for money and the way they treat us. They're giving us free stuff.
I think it's a great step for EA, actually. Yeah. Like, it works well. Like, the online isn't completely botched, and I mean, 2 months, 2 free DLC packs. You can't really complain there. Looking ahead, Scott, as the fortune teller here of the show, what is your most anticipated thing for May?
For May? Oh, God. Watch Dogs. Easily, I think.
Watch Dogs.
Give Watch Dogs a chance, GhostRobo.
I will give Watch Dogs a chance. I was just going to say that Watch Dogs is my most anticipated, too.
Oh,
because
sorry. Yeah.
I know what Mario Kart is. So I will say that Watch Dogs is my most intriguing option for May. But I almost forgot the most important part of this entire show, Scott. Do you know what that is?
The questions?
Emails. We have begun a letters segment of our show. If you guys want to get your question, comment, advice, asking, anything basically, you can email me at ghostrobo@gmail.com. Make the subject line podcast in big capital letters, and you have a chance to be featured on our next week's show. The most important question of the bunch is from Nate. And Nate from the internet asks, if you guys could switch lives for 1 week, would you?
Your life sounds quite interesting. As long as you didn't go near my girlfriend, I'm fine with that.
I just want to play with your tortoise.
Okay.
That's why I want to switch lives for a week, so I can run around England and play with your tortoise. Let's see here. We have a pretty good question coming from Ryan, who says, do you think that the new Mass Effect 4 game will take place before the original trilogy, after, or totally separate? There's been rumors that BioWare will at least reveal their next Mass Effect game at E3. Do you think they're going to go prequel, sequel, something totally different?
I can't see how it's going to be a sequel, to be honest. I mean...
Yeah, that seems sort of impossible.
Didn't the world sort of blow up? What have you done? Which is a really shit ending, by the way. I think it'd be a prequel, honestly, and it may lead on to you could be Shepard's father. I don't know. It could be that. So you know what I mean? Something almost like Star Wars-ish. Like a
really weird. Yeah, I could see that happening, or maybe something totally different. I think maybe a game that begins on Earth and then is sort of that moment where they find the aliens and sort of that.
Yeah, the first meeting of them and
first contact could be an interesting idea. Are you hoping for a new Mass Effect?
Yeah, I like Mass Effect. The third one didn't really.
Yeah, it kind of soured me on the whole thing.
Mass Effect 2 was. I loved that game, and the first one was good as well for me when I played that. I was in that world. I liked it a lot, but then the third one was just disappointing for me personally.
Dragon Age looks good though. Inquisition looks like it should be fun. Ash from the internet says, This is an important question, I think. Do you feel that too much emphasis is placed on graphics fidelity these days? Personally, my favorite game ever is a PlayStation 1 game. It just seems like people, if not dismiss or have a lesser opinion of games that don't have that visual wow factor.
For me personally, I think it's just something we expect now in terms of we bought a new console, we want nice graphics. That's partly why we buy these games. I mean, I think we expect more now these days, personally, where perhaps... I don't know. For me, gameplay is still the main factor for me personally when I'm playing a game. But then I look at graphics as well, and the immersion factor for me is always top notch. It has to be like graphically amazing for me, and the sounds and the sights, and for me to really get in that world personally. I don't know.
I think that's totally true. I think especially like we mentioned with this generation, like the noticeable difference is the graphics, right? It's not like, oh my god, now the controller has 3 sticks, or oh my god, we have multiplayer finally, or online finally. No, the real defining factor of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One is prettier games. So sure, they talk about the cloud, we can do blah blah blah,
social stuff,
right? but the prettiness of these games is kind of why we spent $400 or $500 on them. So I think at least for now, until we find a way to evolve mechanics, I think for now, graphics are kind of necessary to be the focus because it's what separates PlayStation 4 and Xbox One from the previous games.
Definitely.
The next question comes from Ben in Iowa, and this is for me specifically. He says, "Hey, dude, do you live in Sioux City, Iowa? Because I think I saw you at church, and I think I saw Noah at YMCA." No, I don't live in Iowa. I'm a little bit freaked out that you saw me because that means that I have a doppelganger or clone somewhere roaming around. But no, I live in Indiana. Scott lives in. Do you live in London proper?
No, I live in Essex, outside of London.
Ah, the grand. Is it a town?
It's called a county, and then I live in a town. Yeah.
A town. The town of Essex.
No, it's the town of no. It's the county of Essex, and I live in the town of Hornchurch.
Oh,
now I'm just giving away my location. Fantastic.
Go find Game Riot. You can find him. He'll be with the tortoise and the budgie and the rest of the animals. Mega Knuckles asks. Apparently, he's from the Sonic franchise. Here, he's writing into our lovely show. He says, "Scott, are you ticklish on your feet?"
Was that just directed at me?
Yes.
Yes, very ticklish actually.
I am as well. So we both.
My dad used to grab my legs and then just took them in. It's about torture.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice. And Cal Ford asks our advice question of the week, which is, do you guys have any tips to get over shyness around girls?
Oh, God. I think we're the worst people to ask, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm like terrible. I'm not the shyest person. If you met me like in real life, I'm not. I feel like I've got better with YouTube and stuff and a little bit more confident, but generally I'm just, if I meet new people, I'm just shy as hell.
Well, I think both...
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, both of us met our girlfriends kind of like, you met yours very early on, so there probably wasn't as much... I mean, was there shyness when you first met her? We
chatted on like MSN, so it was a bit sort of like we knew each other already, perhaps.
I guess maybe that's our advice then, because I met my girlfriend in real life, I guess, first, but then we got to know each other through Facebook. So perhaps break down barriers via something that feels a little more comfortable. Obviously, face-to-face conversation is the best way to get to know somebody, but if you have a means to text them or get to know them, I guess, rather than... I think people in their heads, especially with girls, build up this like very, like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. And if you don't talk to them first, you kind of create them to be almost this goddess in your mind. And then when you go to talk to them, it's like you're approaching a princess, whereas they're just a person. They just want to be talked to and asked about their life and tell you about, stuff. So I think just
be yourself, but don't be too full on. I just be friendly and I don't know. Just sometimes just like bite your lip and just go for it.
Exactly. Realize that they are people and you're a person and they're probably just as nervous to talk to you as you are to them. Our last question for the day comes from Christian in Florida, who wants to know, basically to make a long story short, he wants to know if we think that he's excited for Arkham Knight. It's his most anticipated game. And do we think that their new villain they're touting is truly a new character for the Batman franchise? Or is it just going to be like Joker or Scarecrow or someone in a suit?
It's going to be like a sort of revelation when he opens up his helmet, but it's not going to be like I think it's going to be like a new character. Like it could be.
You do.
Some people are randomly saying it's going to be his dad or something. You know what I mean? That's what random people are saying. Like it could be. or it could be like his secret son or something. It's just like that's what they're going down.
If they put Joker in that suit, I will throw my controller.
I'm gonna do commentary and slam something down, and just walk out.
Here's my crazy oddball prediction. So the end of the game, and Arkham Knight is there, and Batman stabs him, and then the mask comes off, and it's Alfred the butler, and Bruce Wayne feels terrible because he just killed his own butler, and really he was trying to save him and stop him from this life of risk and possible death. He just wanted to combat him to keep him safe, and now he killed him.
First of all, Batman doesn't stab people.
No, but this Arkham Knight uses guns, so Batman has to resort to something a little more drastic.
He's not going to start shooting people or stabbing them. But that's a terrible theory.
Okay, all right, fine. I think his dad would be interesting, or his son. I think it would make no sense if it was someone random. Like, there would be no like gravitas or any story pull if it was like, and it is Ben Church. Like who? Like
Winston Churchill.
Yes, what? Winston Churchill is the Arkham Knight. Confirmed, fully, totally true. This is not a rumor. Winston Churchill inside of that suit. You heard it here first, guys and girls. That is going to do it for this week. Any closing thoughts, Mr. Game Riot?
I hope you have a nice day, people. And have a good weekend, and I will see you for the next podcast.
Thank you very much. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. You can find Game Riot at twitter.com/GameRiotArmy. You can find me at twitter.com/GhostRobo. If we switch lives for a week, you might find me at twitter.com/GhostRoboArmy and Scott at twitter.com/GhostRobo. But either way, follow us there. Any other plugs we have for this week? Anything cool you got coming out?
Oh man, there's not much. I think Bound by Flame is coming out next Friday, so I might do some stuff on that.
Oh yeah, that's a random PS4 game that's coming out of nowhere, isn't it?
I mean, I've got a PC review code for that, which I've got uploaded already, so I'm gonna play that for a bit, maybe.
Interesting. For myself, I'm just getting back in the swing of things. I don't know. Oh, I do know what I'm doing, but I'm not. I don't want to. I'll just say it. I'm doing the Cold Heart DLC for Batman and some Kirby Triple Deluxe for 3DS. So some fresh game flair. Nice. As well as all the other good stuff. But that is going to do it, guys and girls. Thank you for joining. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Let us know your comments on this week's show down below. Have a fantastic day. Until next time, we will see you all later.